Bro, there is a massive scandal brewing for Disney. Do you remember when Disney decided that they were going to get political and go to war with the state of Florida over the parental rights and education bill because
Mhm.
Disney really felt passionately about protecting degenerate teachers' rights to sexualize kindergartners? Well, a lot of that blew up in their face. They got the whole Reedy Creek Improvement District taken away from them, all these special advantages that they had. And Disney and Florida have been in a long, lengthy legal battle. It seemed like Disney was willing to pull every shady trick they could to try to hang on to power there. And obviously, people thought, well, obviously, they like their advantages, they like the benefits, they didn't want to give that up. It looks like they may have been trying to hide a lot more than that because there are some new reports out there that are not good for Disney. DeSantis board accuses Disney of controlling previous one with gifts. And it's not just the DeSantis board like we have in this headline. It's an independent audit that went in, an 80-page independent audit of all the financial things that have been going on with Disney, between Disney and RCID over the past several years. It is not good for them. Breaking, internal documents reveal a massive government corruption scandal between Disney and the Reedy Creek Improvement District. Disney effectively controlled local government through bribes, including Disney World passes not available to the public. And if it was just, a couple passes or whatever, you could say, okay, like that's not good, right? But whatever, sliding a little here and there. It's even worse than that. There's some shit in here that is crazy to me, Jeremy, including Disney giving board members property that Disney owns, putting in their name for a year or two to sit on the board, and then taking it back. Getting people that they
Wow.
want in power, giving people and their families, essentially treating government employees like their own employees, getting them employee discounts, getting them free passes. And this is something that went on over a long period of time. So that the RCID board, so the Reedy Creek Improvement District, so that they would always think of Disney first whenever they did anything.
Mhm.
This is probably why Disney was so frantically trying to hang on to this thing. Including, do you remember when they put that ridiculous thing in there, like the last minute, like something about King Charles or the King of England, like being
Yeah.
woven into it? Just bullshit that was never going to hold up in court.
Yep.
But now we might find out why it was like this.
They've operated without any oversight for so long. It's nice to see that, obviously everybody knows I have my issues with Ron DeSantis, but I'm so happy that he's taken them to task on this, and it just continues to make them look bad. It's not isolated to just bad movies, okay? This is why my big problem started with Disney. I've always been a fan of Disney and their theme parks and, Pixar. Even going back to Walt Disney himself, I've always appreciated what Walt Disney created. But when Lucasfilm was bought by Disney, and when The Last Jedi came out, it was very obvious that something deeper was going on within this company. It wasn't about a bad movie. Bad movies happen. You watch it, you criticize it, you move on with your life. When fans started criticizing Last Jedi, something different was happening, not just with Disney, but the overall entertainment industry. But it was all centered around Disney and the way that they responded to the criticism, which is something we have never seen. We've never seen the studio blame the fans for the bad product to this level. As this thing has continued on, it's all within the theme parks. It's all within the company. We've seen the leaked Zoom calls, yada, yada, yada. And the more that you're going to peel the layers of this onion back, the more you're going to find out just how disgusting and corrupt they are.
Yeah, here's a little bit of the breakdown. I finally found the spot that I wanted. The report lays out how even the democratic aspects of RCID were meticulously controlled by Disney. And first part of this report talks about all the promises Disney made when they made this deal with the state of Florida back in the 60s and how they didn't follow through on any of it, any of the stuff they promised to build. That's a whole different story. Board members, for example, were only eligible if they owned land in the district. So Disney would temporarily deed plots of inaccessible land that board members could hold during the duration of their service. That's wild.
That is wild.
That is crazy. They had that type of relationship with people that they wanted to get on the board and forfeit it back to Disney at the end. The company even continued to pay the property tax for the board members. The system ensured the board would be responsive to Disney's preferences and would serve Disney's interests, creating the potential for corruption. The financial audit appears to uncover areas where corruption may have existed, as well as potential tax fraud. A forensic accountant found Disney treated district employees that were supposed to be regulating it like employees. Reedy Creek Improvement District were treated to benefits such as complimentary annual passes for themselves and family members, as well as steep discounts on products and related services such as Disney cruises. The report states that showering gifts and lavish spending on RCID employees created the impression that these employees work to achieve the interest of Disney, not the district or other property owners. So all of this came out yesterday. I imagine this is going to be a very, very big story.
Will the mainstream pick it up? More than likely not. They should, but there's going to be a lot of people on YouTube that are going to be talking about this and breaking this down. And again, you can tell who a company is and what they're about based on how they respond to fans' concerns. And when you start seeing them lash out like Disney has, again, what have I said 1,000 times about this? I'm going to repeat myself for the 1,000th time or the millionth time. Those that preach the loudest have the most to hide. When you see people projecting this hard by blaming everyone else and calling everyone else terrible, no normal person does that. Normal people don't project that hard. Normal people don't have that moral superiority like that. The people that have moral superiority typically are people that are trying very hard to make you look away from what they are doing. They're trying to get your attention moved in another direction. All of these horrible fans, they're toxic, they're racist, they're alt-right, they're terrible people. And like when you see that type of behavior, there's a lot more that they are trying to make you look away from. And Disney, we're seeing it point blank that they have had so much that they've been hiding. Why is Bob Iger not being held accountable for this? I don't know. Time will tell. Maybe he will be, but that's where we are.
All that happened under Chapek,
So,
you know.
Yeah, but you got to believe, dude, that all of this was going on. You don't fundamentally change the company that quickly. Do you think Bob Iger wasn't pulling the strings still?
I mean, he was there. I don't know how involved he was with stuff, but he was there. He was the chairman of the board. So
Yes.
like nothing happened at the company during that time that was like outside of really what his interests were.
There's no way that you're going to make me believe that Bob Iger, I've watched this man be a politician for as long as he's in the CEO. I've watched him groom people to take over his position for years, only to fire them because they didn't have what it takes. And then for him to just step away suddenly like that is not consistent with the Bob Iger. He's a manipulative piece of shit is what he is. He's a politician. He's an evil fucking manipulative piece of shit. That's what he is. And there ain't no way that he just stepped away and let Bob Chapek take over and run the company of this stature. I refuse to believe that Bob Chapek was a real leader. I refuse to believe it. You know?
Yeah, it clearly was a fall guy for COVID, and now Bob Iger is blaming all the problems. He has that to fall back on. Regardless of some of these things were in production when he was still there, regardless of whether a lot of these policies or executives that were hired or diversity initiatives that were launched were while he was there, he now has that to fall back on. And I don't know how long he's going to do it for, right? I don't know how long he's going to continue to use the Bob Chapek thing. Maybe another year at most is what he's got. Some people believe it, I guess.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't.
We will see how it all plays out.